did your musical adventure begin? What experience inspired you to start making your own music?
Live Aid, a concert Live Aid for me.
Really?
Remember 1985, the big charity concert? That one. That's what started it for me. How about you, Liz?
Probably ABBA, when I was about 7.
Oh.
You're not really into heavy metal when you're about 7, are you? Then again, my kids are, so.
And how about the beginnings of Anathema? How do you recall the beginnings of the band?
Just friendships, brothers and friends, just doing it for fun. I played guitar, we just thought, okay, everybody else learns instruments. Jamie and Vinny could both play a bit too, and John thought, well, okay, you be the drummer. And Darren couldn't play, so okay, you be the singer. And it turned out Darren was developed to be a really good poet, and John became a great drummer. And it just started like that. Within 2 years or 3 years, we'd already done an album. So it was quite a quick ride.
So you didn't really plan for any outstanding career in the first place?
I always knew I wanted to make a career in music, but I didn't really think it would be with those guys until a bit later.
Yeah.
You know, after we started playing for about 6 months or a year, then it started getting serious. And Darren always had a focus, you know, and he would like lead us in the right direction, say, let's be serious, let's do it properly, let's write serious songs. And the riffs were coming. It was all guitar music then, there was no keyboards, and it just started flowing like that. And then before long we had a demo, and then another one 6 months later, and then that's when Peaceville got interested. And the first Paradise Lost album had just come out as well. So.
Do you think you had there was luck involved, or you were simply lucky that you managed to make it?
We had good timing, because like we started at the start of that whole Paradise Lost thing. You know what Paradise Lost started with, the kind of like melodic kind of death metal kind of doomy thing. And we kind of come in right behind that. So I suppose we had good time, and if we were 3 years younger, it's a different story.
Now, Anathema's music has undergone some dramatic changes over the years. What was the source of these changes?
People. Just the people who write them. It's just reflections of us. We grow up, you know.
It's just life, people change, you don't stay the same, do you? Or I think you're a bit weird if you do. You know, go through life without changing and adapting and getting into new things and seeing new horizons.
And there have been a few lineup changes also in the band, in Anathema's history. How did they influence the way that music?
The biggest one has to be Duncan. Duncan joined for a while and had a big influence on Anathema. Darren White also had a big influence, those two really. But it was obvious at the end of the day why Darren left, because, you know, the vocal style was not what we were really about. And Duncan left in different circumstances, but I mean, that was also kind of a natural thing for him to do as well, really, looking back on it. Those two had a big influence on Anathema. Darren was like at the start big on the underground scene, helping the band, promoting focus, motivation, direction, lyrics. And then Duncan, when Darren left, Duncan took over a lot of responsibilities, which I think he wasn't very comfortable with all those responsibilities. But he did bring definitely a songwriting direction, you know, more into like the melodic vocals and stuff like that. And it was the right thing that they both left in the end, you know. It was the right thing for both of them.
Mm-hmm. For the both of them, how about for the band?
Well, definitely, yeah.
How do you judge your past now, after over a decade of making music and growing up with it?
Good fun. We met Les years and years ago when we recorded the first EP and the first album. We stayed in his band's house, so we've all known each other for years, and you know, we grew up together. You know, John and Vinny went to the same school since they were 11, so did Jamie. Obviously I've known them two all my life, and known Darren since I was young, and known Les for over 10 years, so it's we've had lots of good fun, and we've kind of grown up together, you know what I mean? And we've all made mistakes in the past, you know, I'd be the first to admit it, but, you know, you learn from them, and we stuck it out, and we're still together, and it's a beautiful thing, really, what we're doing. It's, so we all need it, you know, we need each other, and we need the music, and the past is not something that we're denying at all. It's just that we're not living there, you know. We're moving on and making new music all the time. Better stuff.
Now, how would you classify Anathema's music today? What name would you give to it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe simple music.
It's in the rock genre, you know, I suppose, loosely. But, you know, labels are for other people to give it, yeah. It's not for us to say it's this or it's that. We just do it. And then other people put labels on it. So asking us is, I don't know, you know, we don't know.
People like journalists.
Yeah. Record companies and promoters and
but we keep changing.
Labels.
You could label the last 3 albums in a certain way and say it's kind of atmospheric, melancholic, kind of emotional rock. But the next 2 could be really different. So, you know, who's to say? I mean, listen to the next 2 albums and then try and label us, you know, and see. It's going to be even more difficult.
It's like what were the Beatles? What was their music? You can't label it, can you? It was just everything, you know. So it's like we've got that attitude towards it. We're not trying to do anything, you know. It's just what happens. It's natural.
Yeah.
So, how about these next 2 Anathema albums? Do you have any ideas what direction your music might evolve in the future?
Yeah, everything is really the words to describe it. Now that the natural disaster is out of the way, now I've got them songs out of my head and it's finished, we can move on to try basically everything that people feel like doing, because that's the kind of musicians that these guys are, and myself a bit, you know, and it's like, basically the band is a bunch of open-minded musicians. They're not tied down to any particular style. It could be dance, techno, classical, rock, metal, anything. Could even be that mobile phone music.
Go away. Fuck off.
21st century. People will get you anywhere.
I remember not ever having a mobile phone, you know. Nobody could...
It's amazing, isn't it?
If you went out, you were out, and that was it. You could go out for a week, and nobody could talk to you ever. You know, it was fucking great.
But now, imagine living without a mobile. That would be different.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Is it off?
Sorry, yeah, sorry.
So this question about the next albums.
Yeah.
Well, everything is probably, it might be a name for it anyway, because that's the attitude, isn't it? These have had this attitude for the last 2 years. And the only reason I haven't been able to fully go along with it until now is because I had those songs and kind of just wanted to do them and get them done. The last album, I mean. But now it's finished and out of the way. Now I totally know what they mean about just fucking, you know, doing basically whatever they and us and everyone feels like doing. And it could be almost anything. That's why I don't want people to have too many conceptions about what Anathema should be. It has to be emotional. It must be to be a dying wish. You know, it's like it could be fucking anything really, and that's the attitude that we're gonna try and do. A bit more into real instruments as well. I think we want to get into like real strings and new recording techniques and stuff. And you've got your setup now, haven't you? So.
And how about, aren't you afraid that you're going to lose your fans somewhere, you know, leave them behind? They just, that just won't be able to follow your musical evolution.
No, they've stuck with us this far, so I think they'll stay. We might gain up more anyway, you know what I mean? It's like the stuff that we're capable of writing big album, and whether we ever sell a lot doesn't matter. The fact is, as natural musicians, we're capable of writing decent stuff, and just hopefully people like it. If people want to live in the past and want to live in the silent enigma, that was 10 years ago, you know, they're entitled to do that, but we don't have to do it. You know, and we're not ashamed of the past really, it's just not really that relevant anymore to us. We still do a few songs, old songs live. But I think people generally understand us now. You know, we're known for it. We're known for the fact that we do change and we move. You know, different story.
No, you started out as a 100% metal band, and
Not really. Or listen to Everwake on the first EP.
I don't know the first.
Well,
EP.
there you go. The very first EP. Track 3 is a completely acoustic song with female vocals.
Oh, so I'm sorry for my
But
fault.
but you're right.
But,
To a point, you know. I mean,
yeah.
it was doom metal. You know
But
what I mean?
but anyway, it was mostly metal. So my question was how, what does the term metal, heavy metal, mean to you today? What emotion does
Every
it
time I
evoke?
see Iron Maiden logo, I think that's nice. That's about all it means to me, really. You know, it's just a name, isn't it? It's like the best stuff in heavy metal is obviously brilliant. You know what I mean? The best stuff. It could be Slayer, Maiden's best stuff, or whatever. You know what I mean? But a lot of it's shit. But the best stuff is great. The same with every genre. It could be folk, classical. The best stuff is fucking brilliant, and you got a lot of stuff that's below that. And it's just no different with metal.
Now, when you were growing up as teenagers, you must have had your favorite albums that played a very important part in your life. What were they?
God. Motorhead, Overkill, Black Sabbath, any Black Sabbath album, Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, all the big great rock stuff, you know, really, any of the classic stuff. But yeah, Zeppelin, Sabbath, Floyd, that sort of thing.
We were brought up a little bit with
Beatles,
yeah,
obviously.
Beatles, yeah. I was going to say the Beatles as well. And also like U2, we were brought, you know, U2 went big in like the late 80s when I was growing up, and they were obviously dead good. Dire Straits as well, when I was a kid, learning the guitar, he was a big influence. That kind of thing.
And how about today? What music do you listen to today? What music do you draw inspiration from?
Everything. Anything really.
So no particular names that are standing.
There's loads of them, you know. I like a lot of acoustic stuff, but then again I love really brilliant techno stuff. And the best classical, it could be anything really.
And how about other non-musical sources of inspiration? Where do you draw your creative energy
Well, most
from?
of the lyrics I've ever written have been about the people that I've loved or people that I've been close to, family, friends, generally about those people, or me. I'm trying to move away from that now because I've said it all now. So, but that's been, in the past if I ever write any words, I was obviously thinking about people like that I've been close to.
And were there any important events, any turning points in your life that affected your approach towards music, apart from Live Aid, of course?
There always is, isn't there? Been through a few big turning points recently.
It's hard to identify them at the time. You know, sometimes it takes years until you can recognise it, that, oh, that was a big event. When you're in the middle of it, you don't know. You don't realise. It's only after like a lot of time you can sort of analyse, look at yourself and think, yeah, that did have an effect on me at the time. You're in the middle of it, and it's, you know.
A recent one, me and Vinny sorting out our differences and becoming good friends again and playing acoustic concerts together. That's been a turning point. Because if me and Vinny are strong, then the band's strong then. So that's been good. After a few years of being silly, you know, it's better now.
Yeah. Well, actually, my next question is supposed to be about, three brothers playing in one band. How does that affect your cooperation?
I don't know. I can't say how it is not to do it. I've been with the band with Vinny since the start, and I guess you could say it makes the band stronger because most people would have split up by now. The shit that's gone on, the stuff that I've pulled and everything. So you could say that it's strong. It's a strong bond because it goes beyond normal family or friend relationships. You know what I mean? It's a bit deeper than that. Like so, guess you could say it's good. And Jamie, to be honest, I say Jamie's a good bass player. You know what I mean? He plays well. Like he plays solid and he understands the songs. So that's been good too. But it's early days with Jamie. He's only just joined, so it's hard to say how it's going to go. But he's been good so far.
How does the cooperation in Anathema look like? How much to say does each of the members have when you're making decisions?
I think things have changed. You know what I mean? On the last album it was a mess. I was in a mess and it was a mess. John went on a holiday. I didn't know which way to turn. I just ended up fucking just doing it almost on my own. It's a mistake. It could have been better. Anyway, it could have been 10-20% better if I hadn't done that. But that's what I'm saying. That's in the past now. So I think if you ask that question after the next album, that's the answer that you want. You know what I mean? You have to see over the next year. I think this year could be. Looks well. I mean, the tour's been great so far.
Yeah, it's been really good.
The tour's been good. Everybody's playing well. Everybody's getting on, and everybody seems to have slotted into place. So this year should really be the one to say how it's going to go.
How big a role do you feel lyrics have in music? How important are they in Anathema music?
Well, you know, it's only to an extent that how important is anything. You know what I mean? It's like you're not going to change the world, but you can speak to people. I mean, all the stuff that I've ever loved, I loved it because of the words. I really loved Pink Floyd. It was because of the words. Or the Beatles. You know, the Beatles are the only band who ever really changed the world. You know what I mean? And even they didn't stop fucking the apocalypse. You know what I mean? So it's like. To an extent, you can't really do much, but you can make people a bit happier. You can speak to people a little bit and just cheer them up or help them understand something, or that's all you can expect. Really, communicate with them a bit. So yeah, I think as far as the art of the band of music goes, yeah, words are obviously important in that respect.
It depends on the listener as well. I mean, to some people it's really important, and to others it wouldn't really matter. Yeah. I mean. You've only got to take a look at popular music to realise that lyrics to most people are just fucking meaningless. Yeah. Chart songs. Look at the lyrics. 90% of them don't mean fucking anything at all. It's just nonsense. So it's obviously important to Anathema, but it also depends on the listener, doesn't it? Like some people just don't take any notice of them at all, or very little. Or don't understand them, don't try and analyse them and get behind the meaning, they just take it at face value,
But the people who like our stuff generally have a go and interpreting it, An album like Alternative 4, the lyrics in the first 4 lines of that album, it's just, it's immediately fucking hell, you know what I mean? So people, and it's simple, you know what I mean? So I think people got drawn into the lyrics because of stuff like that. Duncan's stuff, he wrote a lot of good stuff like. It's just carried on. We're that kind of band in a way that, if we do, hopefully when we do lyrics in the future, they will be meaningful for whatever extent. And when we don't do lyrics, there'll be a reason for that as well. We're going to do some more instrumental stuff.
Now, the word communication, how important is it in making music?
It's everything in life. If you think about it, there's nothing really more important in our own lives and as we interact than that. To communicate how you feel, what you need, what other people need, you know what I mean? And in a band, it's everything really.
Do you think music is a form of communication?
Yeah, of course it is.
Universal language. Totally, yeah. Somebody in China can understand an emotion that you're trying to convey via music without any words at all. Classical music, for instance, can convey emotions and scenes. So it is a universal language. Yeah, it's totally universal. Everybody understands it. Everybody.
Goes right back to the dawn of civilization as well. Music. They've used it. The Indians used to you know, bang drums and all that to communicate, or to do various things, whether it was whatever it was, you know, messages or shamans or whatever. So it's just part of being a person, you know, part of being a human being. It's part of the makeup, the psyche.
Now, if you had the possibility of transmitting one single song to all the people all over the world at the same time, and if you were certain that everyone would listen...
Beatles already did it. It was All You Need Is Love.
So,
and they did
would it be the song that you'd pick?
Of course, yeah. That's the one. For me, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that'd be a good one. Yeah.
Many rumors have been spread and many legends have been told concerning your bad behavior on tour during the past years. Are there any special stories? Like
we're not that bad. I mean, you get these stories from the American bands and that, and the bands of the 70s.
Yeah, of course, bands, you know.
They're good boys in comparison to that, you know what I mean?
So you have no interesting, funny stories to tell?
Really funny stuff, maybe. Yeah,
loads. No, I mean, there's a difference between being a fucking arsehole and smashing things up and going, I am, you know, don't you know who I am? I'm a fucking rock god, and smashing, and then having a total massive ego. That's the sort of like typical rock star behaviour. But Anathema, you know, some people just consider it bad behaviour just because we're having a laugh. It's not, you know, it's not an ego thing. It's just like, oh, fuck that. We want to just have a laugh and do what we want to do sometimes. And because we don't get in the taxis at whatever time they want us to, or we don't get out of bed whenever, you know, it's like...
Goodbye! Don't have to be that. Alright, thanks a lot for coming out tonight, everyone. You mean the most to us. Cheers.